Hello everyone, welcome to my very first TV show review here on my YouTube channel. For our very first review, we will be talking about a show called The Boys, and I will be reviewing their second season that just finished up this past Friday. I want you to all please bear with me in this review as it is my first time doing something like this. So again, bear with me as I will do my best to review this season for you all. Also, please comment down below, what did you think of the second season of The Boys? Did you like it or not like it? Let me know. I would love to hear what you have to say about it. I just want to preface by saying this too. Here on this channel, I will not be doing in-depth spoiler reviews for anything that I make a video on. I've come to find that those types of videos take a little longer to make, and in my personal life, I have a very busy schedule. So other movie critics out there who do spoiler reviews and for TV shows and movies are probably where you would want to go for that. Considering this is a television show, I will have to give some spoilers throughout just because I feel you have to talk about a lot of stuff when it comes to the episode, so I'm going to be giving a spoiler alert later on in the video to help you get ready for when I do have to talk about certain things. Alright, enough talk, let's get right into it. The Boys is a fantastic show that pushes the boundaries of the comic book genre to its limits that we have never seen before on screen. The show's first season, which aired last year, showed off all of that in every way possible, from the awesome comic book superhero action to the incredibly violent and gory depictions of the action it shows, and the witty, perfectly written humor that integrates with both of those things. This show makes up all those things work beautifully together, and season 2 is just another prime example of that. The first season of the show was an introduction towards characters, the boys, and then our antagonist slash protagonist characters who fight the boys in The Seven, who is this band of superheroes who are taken up by a corporate entity known as VOD, who are contracted to do various things as if they were movie stars in Hollywood. But if you've seen the show's marketing, well, you would know that is just not what they are. They are no heroes. They are exactly what a lot of people would think superheroes would be like if it was real life. Terrible people who do terrible things with their powers and feel as if they can do whatever the hell they want. The first season was just a way to introduce us to these characters and give us a simple story where our group, the Boys, fights the Seven, and by the time we get to the end of the season, it wraps up in a way where it gives us a nice little story beat that will go into the second season, which is what we will be talking about today. So this is now where I will be talking about spoilers for season 2. So I'm going to be putting up a spoiler alert here on screen. If you do not want to hear about anything, go and watch the show and come back to this video. Or if you're just here for the review and don't really care too much, then that's cool with me. So we start off season 2 with bringing us back to our characters in The Seven and the Boys. The Seven are currently mourning the loss of Translucent, who was killed in the first season by Huey, and things for the most part are on good terms between all the members, while the Boys are living their lives as fugitives while also not getting along with each other in the process. We also for the first time get introduced to a new character in the show, Stormfront, who will be a big component when it comes to talking about the season as a whole. We also see Billy Butcher at the very end come back to the Boys after what had occurred in the very last episode of the first season, where he and Homelander got into it, and we find out that his old wife, who had gone missing for 10 years, had a child with Homelander, which left the season off in a big cliffhanger for season 2. That is just one of many plot points that this season has, and there are many other subplots which are just additional plot points that feed into the story, and you see them all carry out through every episode in the season. The season shows the stories behind Butcher and his family, as well as Butcher and his wife, while also integrating the son into it all. We also get another plot point with Huey and Starlight as their relationships goes back and forth with the Seven. Each character has their own subplot in a way, and I'll be honest, I love the actor who plays him because he's so good as him, but the Deep, his story just didn't work at all, and his character was practically useless this season as opposed to season 1. Queen Maeve, Black Noir, A-Train, Homelander, Starlight, and Stormfront all have compelling stories, but the Deep was just a side story that I just didn't really care for. And I guess you could say the Boys themselves all have their own stories and subplots to them. Again, all of them were compelling and interesting. I won't go over every single episode as far as what happens in each one because that would take me a long time to do, but I will say this. The story points of each episode and each character coming up to the last 2 episodes all come together in a way where the last 2 episodes were maybe the best episodes of the season, and this is where we will talk about in the spoilers for these episodes. And I will say this, the way that this show is written to where all of that comes together in these last 2 episodes is beautifully done. And I have to give huge props because the writing in the show is just spectacular. Leading into episode 7, we find out that Stormfront, who I mentioned earlier, is a Nazi from World War I who was the first superhero to be injected with Compound V, which is the drug that the company Vought, who is created during World War I, used to create the superheroes. And so going into episode 7, Stormfront and Homelander, who at one point get together, are put in a situation where they are put on trial as to all the evidence that has come out against Stormfront and the company of Vought. It doesn't end well, as a lot of people in the courtroom end up dying from their heads exploding, and so all the evidence that would have been put up forth is now gone. And so now going into episode 8, the boys realize that they either gotta fight them all or they gotta find another way to stand trial against them. Because we realize throughout the entire season that Vought is behind all of this, and the son who we mentioned earlier, who was born by Becca and Homelander, who is Butcher's wife, was the first natural-born superhero who we find out has Homelander's powers just like he does. Essentially, this whole season was just mainly about how the whole story behind Stormfront was meant to be uncovered to further exploit Vought and get the superheroes in the 7 to help out with the boys to defeat Stormfront, and then that coincides with the story with Butcher and the son of Homelander and Becca, which all comes to an end in the final episode. Let me just say, the finale of the show was excellent in every way possible. The boys go after the son, Ryan, while being protected by Homelander and Stormfront, and it all comes to an end in a big battle between Stormfront and the boys, and Homelander, who is caught in the middle of it all while both fighting Vought and the boys at the same time. The episode ends with Ryan using his powers finally after being forced many times in the season to use them all, and kills kills Stormfront while also killing his mom in the process through friendly fire. Homelander's put in a bad situation where he has to mourn what has happened to Stormfront, while also being put in a situation where Queen Maeve can expose him for what he did in Season 1 with the scene on the airplane, and he has no choice but to let it all go and concede to their wishes. After all this goes down, each character's story basically comes to an end for the time being, where the boys go off on their own back to their families or just do their own thing now that they aren't fugitives anymore. The 7 are put in a situation now where Homelander, Starlight, Queen Maeve, and A-Train are all back together, but obviously under the circumstances that Homelander doesn't give anything away as to what happened. Black Noir is in a bad condition after he suffers from a tree nut allergy in a previous episode while fighting Starlight and Queen Maeve. Stormfront is taken away to some prison while still alive somehow, and the Deep is still on his own. After all of that, he doesn't get into the 7, and his story was in a way a waste of time. Vought is also still okay for the time being after everything that they had transpired throughout this season. We also find out that the Congresswoman who played a part in helping the boys to defeat Vought was the actual Soup, who was involved in blowing up everybody and seems to be undercover, and so that is going to be the cliffhanger plot point that will play into Season 3 when we get it. Butcher has to send Ryan away with the CIA, Huey ends up getting a job with the Congresswoman, and then the show comes to an end. And so, we come to the final verdict of what I thought of Season 2. Overall, not as good as Season 1, which I would have given a 9 out of 10. I am happy to say that after watching Season 2, I would give it an 8.5 out of 10. Another great season from the show, and I am super excited to see what they end up doing in Season 3, which could be a long ways away now that everything is happening in the world with COVID. But let me just say this right now. I want to talk about this guy right here. Anthony Starr, if I am saying that name correctly. Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander. This, to me, is one of the best performances I have ever seen on screen in a television show or a movie, or just in general. He plays this character so well to the point where I would put him up there with the likes of Heath Ledger's Joker as far as performances in a comic book property. It is that good of a performance. The acting is so good that I'm, to this day, shocked that I have never seen this guy in anything else other than this show. It's crazy to me that I've never seen him in anything else. If you are a casting director out there, you need to get him in more stuff. He is so good as this character, Homelander, who is just in every way crazy as it gets, and he plays crazy perfectly. Honestly, if this show loses Homelander, or Butcher for that matter, I don't know if anybody's even going to watch this show. Really. I don't think anybody would end up watching the show anymore if the show lost either Homelander or Butcher for that matter. Because Anthony Starr and Carl Urban, who play both of them, are so good in these roles that the show just can't afford to lose them. This to me is definitely one of the best shows on television right now, and I would highly recommend that you all go out and check this out. It's on Amazon Prime right now, so you can get it for free if you have subscription for Amazon Prime. Looking back on it, I kind of wish I had done an episode-by-episode review just so that I could get the entire show across, and I'm looking to the future as the next time that I will review a show will be for The Mandalorian Season 2, which starts on October 30th. So be ready for that, because that one is going to be good. I will definitely do an episode-by-episode review for that show instead of an entire season review, just so that everybody knows how I feel about each episode leading into the finale. But anyways, thank you guys all so much for tuning into my very first review. Again, this is my first time doing it, so please bear with me as best as possible as I try to get these reviews down and do my best to review a show or movie, and I'll try and do my best in the future. I apologize that this review came out a little later than I hoped it would. I just have a very busy life outside of this channel, so I hope for the next time that doesn't happen. Please hit that subscribe button, like the video, as this will help my channel grow. I'm hoping that these types of videos reach an audience and comes to my channel, because I really love making videos like this, and I hope you all enjoy them. Again, thank you all so much, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.